No, you don't need the.
I'm doing this my way. He a legend, he a legend, he a legend. He a legend, he a legend, he a legend.
Talking on it though, then
He
you
a
can't put it
legend.
up later.
Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of items. Welcome to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league, to the league of items.
What's up, everybody? It's Pikel with League of Items, and we have 4 games tomorrow, 4 matches tomorrow in the LPL and the LCK. We're going to go through the betting odds, DraftKings, and prize picks, and we're going to rank the teams like we did in a couple of the last videos. So first, let's start in the 8th spot. We have Nongshim. So Nongshim is 2-8 so far this year. They are 5-17 across all of their games, which is bad. And it's kind of sad. Their roster is really not that bad. I don't really know what's going on, but it's tough to kind of put any faith in them actually winning, especially in a matchup against Damwon Kia. So Damwon is a huge favorite in this match, and they've been playing pretty well recently. They 2-0'd Fredit Brion and Kwangdong. They did lose to DRX, and that was really the last time that they looked shaky. I think I've won both of my tickets on DraftKings for the qualifiers when Damwon is on the slate. I like playing Damwon. I like playing DRX. Really what you need is for the big team to kind of fail on that night from a DraftKings perspective. So let's take a look at Nongshim on prize picks. So we have Kana and we have BDD. These are 2 good spots to attack. I'm almost interested in the overs for both of them. Let me see if this guy put out the league stuff for the overs. I would assume that the overs are pretty good because they would just need to get. So let's see, BDD 5 out of 10, Kana 3 out of 10. That's pretty surprising. So if this was against most other teams, I would say go for the overs, because Kana and BDD are both, pretty good players. I do think that Showmaker is better than BDD. I don't think that Nuguri is that much better than Kana. Kana is just in a tough spot. His team has been playing very poorly for the entire year. So I would say these are probably stayaways for me. If you think that Nongshim wins one of the games against Damwon, that's an easy bet on the overs. I don't like them to win the match. Plus 1.5, you could convince me that they win one game against Damwon. The real question is, do they put up a fight and force this to be a bloody series? And I kind of hope that that's the case. But, that's the risk that you take. Nongshim is the least expensive or second least expensive in every spot on DraftKings. So if you want to fit them in, you can. Nobody's playing them. That's really the only reason you would even consider it. Next up, we have Fredit Brion. So Fredit Brion is up against DRX. They are a plus 388 underdog. Fredit Brion is a team that I just never seem to get right. They beat Nongshim 2-0. I kind of expected something like that to happen because, whenever I'm on Fredit Brion, they lose, and whenever I think that Fredit Brion has no shot, they kind of put up a good fight. I don't expect them to put up a good fight against DRX. DRX has lost their last 3 matches. They lost to T1, which that happens. They lost to KT, which is a bad loss. They lost to Genji. That happens. So I hope that this is a spot where they know that they're coming up against Damwon Kia in their next match. I hope they're just super try hard in this match against Fredit Brion, and hopefully we can get some good DraftKings scoring out of that. In Damwon's last match, they played against Fredit Brion, and they put up some good numbers. So DRX is definitely capable of doing that, and on DraftKings, you're getting them at pretty low numbers. So for Fredit Brion on prize picks, We have Sword, and we have Lava. I would not play either of those. Oh, and Morgan. Morgan at 2.5. I wonder why Morgan's at 2.5. I don't know who's starting for Fred Brion in top lane. I wouldn't want to play this either way. If you think that Fred Brion is able to take a game off of DRX, I think that Morgan over would be the best spot to attack. Let's keep going. So the next team is BLG. BLG is up against RNG. My big concern with BLG is that they just haven't played well all split. They're constantly changing up their lineups. In their match tomorrow, Fofo is starting again. Rise is starting instead of Doggo. Can is in. Bin is playing against RNG, so theoretically there would be like the revenge factor wanting to beat RNG. I just don't really see them winning this match. I don't see them winning this match, so I won't play them on DraftKings. From a betting perspective, plus 1.5 doesn't really do much for me. I'm not excited about that. And then on prize picks, over under 3.5 and 3. Again, I just don't want to bet the over on these guys. So I think Bin under 3.5, I could see that. You're really just hoping that the hook saves you and that they just get swept. But, that's kind of sketchy, in my opinion. Not much else to say for that. BLG, I'm not playing them on DraftKings. Then we have Rare Atom. And Rare Atom is interesting somewhat. They have been playing good relative to expectations. They are 2-7, but they are competitive in almost all of their matches. They have a decent team from a talent perspective. Cube, Leon, Strive, iBoy, and Yuyanja. They had some good performances, better performances in the beginning of the split, I believe. They beat OMG. That's a good win. Lost to Ultra Prime, but it was close. They lost to Weibo, but it was close. They lost to FPX. That was a bad one. Not a bad one, but they lost badly to them. Lost to V5, 2-1 against JDG. So they are picking up games. But again, you're not going to want to play them on DraftKings. It's a little scary against a team like Top Esports, who most people will think is the number one team on the night, and for good reason. I think you can go under 3.5 for Strive. The big concern for me is, does this end up being a very low kill score game? Where Rare Atom just isn't putting up a big fight. That is possible in my mind. Like for example, in this 8 times 5 is 40 divided by 2 is 20. That is kind of bloody, actually. But then the other one was really low. If anything, the reason why I think you need to think about Rare Atom tomorrow, not in order to play them, but to consider what they may do to Top Esports upside. That's the main thing I'm thinking about with Rare Atom tonight. Not playing them anywhere. Next up in the 4th slot, we have RNG. So I think that RNG is a very good real life League of Legends team. I don't want to play them on DraftKings in this spot. I think that you can go with the under on Xiaohu is probably I think you can kind of go for the under on both of these, and you just want to hope that they have 2 low kill score games in a sweep, or they drop a game. So this is the first thing that I'm kind of interested in, is going with the unders in this spot in order for them both to hit, with like Wei and Gala not picking up a ton of the kills. Doesn't happen very often. So I think I'd want the under on both of these spots, which I think is probably what they're trying to incentivize Xiao, who's only beaten it 2 out of 6, Breathe 2 out of 10, Breathe 1 out of 10. So I think the under is definitely the right side there. In terms of DraftKings scoring, if I'm going to get exposure to RNG tonight, it's going to be on DraftKings. They're a little bit too expensive for me. I think that I'm more excited by playing the teams that we're about to talk about. So in the third spot, we have DRX. So with DRX, they are not the best from a DraftKings scoring perspective. Zika has had a couple of matches where he's up in the 90s. They put those four matches kind of back to back. Against Fred Brion last time, he scored 86 points. Zika scored 86 points. And then I think that 86, 63. So that's kind of scary. Let's see. And actually, they are switching up their jungle sometimes too. So the fact that they have a backup jungler and he's playing sometimes kind of blows my mind. Juhan is actually getting some playing time. So if you're gonna play Piosik, you're going to need to make sure that he's playing. So I guess that makes it even more difficult to play DRX, or that it'll be less popular. And that's really crazy to me. I think that Piosik is a great jungler. I don't know why they brought another jungler into the picture. 7.5 is a big number. 7.5 is a big number for Zika. 1, 2. The under looks like the right side there. Zika, 5 out of 10. I really hope Piosik just plays this full set. That's gonna impact lineup construction. But Kingen at 4, that seems to be set pretty well. Kingen at 4, he's on it 3 out of 10 times. And when he does it, he would clear the number altogether. So that's kind of another thing to take into consideration. I almost want to do the over on Kingen. I'm more likely to play the over on Kingen than Zika. Might just play the under on Zika. So that's really it for DRX. You know, watch out for roster news. I'll be sleeping when that happens. Then in second place, we have Top Esports. I think that it's pretty obvious why it kind of comes out this way. I think that Top Esports is going to be the most popular team tonight. Rare Atom has had some performances that have given up the best DraftKings scoring of the night, and some other ones where they've dragged the team down and just not given up a ton of kills in the sweeps that they've given up. So Top Esports at minus 1,000. You know, I'm not touching that. On DraftKings, they are the most expensive in every role. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be somewhat tough to fit them into lineups with 80 carry captains that don't have an underdog involved. Like, you're going to need to get underdogs involved, or just limit the number of Top Esports players you get to like 2 players, or a player in a team slot, or like you do a top captain or a support captain. I don't generally go in that direction. I just look for another team to kind of outscore them. On prize picks, Knight gets that 50% of the time. Wayward gets that 1 out of 10. I think you can go for the Wayward under. That seems like a pretty good one. Yeah, I would say Wayward under. The Knight one is just kind of frightening because Knight can get 10 kills in one game, which not a lot of players have that upside. In Knight's last 10 games, he has a 9, 8, 6, 7, 6. So he's cleared that number once on his own. Two times he basically almost cleared the number entirely, which is pretty wild. So if I'm getting exposure to Top Esports tonight, it's probably going to be with Knight Captain. Not sure how easy that's going to be to accomplish. Maybe a part of a secondary stack. And that just means that my number 1 team, again, is Damwon Kia. I think that Damwon is a good DraftKings play in general because a lot of people, the games that stick out are the ones where they get like 3 kills or 5 kills or 6 kills in wins. And it's just like, wow, they play so slow. That's so insane. I think that Nongshim is going to be a team that tries to kind of force the issue, and I think that Damwon will be kind of pushed to be more bloody and be more aggressive, which should be good for DraftKings scoring. And I think that they're going to sweep, so you get the game not played bonus. Showmaker has only beaten this number 3 out of 10 times, and Nuggery 3 out of 10 times as well. So that would be a little bit scary, but I think that you could probably just do a correlated thing where you go definitely over with Showmaker. I think that's the easier one to get to justify playing, and then also Nuggery. Otherwise, you're playing almost all unders tonight, which is not my favorite thing to do. So on DraftKings, Damwon is surprisingly not cheap, but it's surprising like how you can fit them in. Showmaker is only 7,000. Like, give me Showmaker as my captain, or try to fit together like a Showmaker with Knight. Those kinds of lineups are going to be cool. Let me export that to CSV. And that's basically it. The team that I want the most exposure to tomorrow is probably Damwon, just to try to get unique lineups in there with a team that can potentially 2-0. I think that is a smart thing to do. But, that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.